Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of God Built This Podcast. I'm your host Maxine. We're on episode 117. I'm joined by a special guest. The special guest is here. I've been hyping him up the last few minutes before recording. So if you're on Instagram Live, you're seeing this right now. If you saw my Instagram post, you'll see the hype up. But I'm joined by Mr. Wright.
Hello. What's up, guys? What's going on?
Mr. Wright, who I affectionately call Mr. Wrong. Me and Mr. Wrong, no man, Mr. Right. Come on.
This is what Marcy be doing.
So Mr. Wright has this sexy voice on. I don't know why, and it's like actually making me uncomfortable. I get it. You just woke up.
Nerves, bro. Oh my god.
I get it. You just woke up, but like this is strange.
This is strange. How is it strange?
Like, are you like what type of time are you on?
I'm on sleepy time. That's all.
I'm on sleepy time. So, in case you guys haven't noticed, me and Mr. Wright have a very respectful relationship. I respect him.
Yeah, okay. We have a very off-the-wall relationship.
Off the wall.
It's funny.
No, because that I see you has like the little brother I always wanted.
She be bullying me. That's what happened.
Okay, bullying?
She be bullying me.
You're like, every time I see you, I got something to say.
She do. This is like a fact.
Every time.
This is definitely a fact.
So I wanted to have you on because you are a colleague of mine who has strong views and opinions, and you're a militant nigga, and you're also a history teacher.
Yeah.
Right? Specifically, what is it? What you do?
World
what the fuck you
history.
Do? Okay, world history. You know, Hitler and shit. And
just him?
And you're from the South, North Kakalaki.
You already know.
You are an alpha man.
Mm-hmm. Oh, shit. Mercy, you don't want nerves, man.
Look, I know I said you could go ahead and be your whole self, but you could hide that part.
No,
like, I don't.
Why would I hide that?
I don't really give a fuck.
Why would I hide that, Mercy?
Mercy,
why would I hide that? Why would I hide it?
Anyway, so let's start off by talking about how Black women are to blame for being single and unmarried. Your take.
So you just like, just went in like, boom, like okay. First off, I want you to give me some more context. Like,
okay,
like I know what I want to say, but like, well, kind of, sort of, but I also want to see like, what is your take?
So, okay, I was watching, shout out to the Joe Budden podcast. I love Joe Budden. Like, that's my nigga. I know he's like toxic to some people, but
yes.
I just like real niggas. And he's a real nigga. Oh, shut up. I'm not into this PC shit. No.
No, I'm talking about Joe Budden.
Okay, yell at me then.
Real. Okay.
No, okay,
continuous
but
no.
I was watching his podcast, right? And he was so he had on, oh my god, so do you know Kevin Samuels? Okay, I know. And I cussed him out too. Like, as I talked about him in a previous episode, we talked about him briefly after a viral video came out of him rating women. I don't like that. It's not okay. I don't believe in the whole scale. On a scale of 1 to 10, I don't like that at all. But I want to talk about specifically how he came on the show and he said how basically ever since The Color Purple, the movie The Color Purple came out, there was a shift in the atmosphere when it came to Black women and Black men and the dynamics of the relationship. There was this movement of, I could do bad all by myself. I don't need a man. I don't need a nigga. I don't need anybody. I don't need a man. And this kind of began the feminist movement. And because of this, or you can make the argument that because of this, there are many Black women who are rejecting Black men. If you want to keep it specific to Black men and Black women in those relationships, there are many Black women rejecting Black men, and this explains why all of my cousins are single. No, but there is this also push to deny this whole, I don't want to submit to anybody, right? I don't want to pick up after you. I don't want to. And look, I have been the head honcho of this movement when I was younger, when I was in my early 20s. I am 30 now, praise God. But now I'm realizing that no, though I don't want to be a slave to a man, I would like to be in a relationship where submission is had, but it's of course in a respectful manner, right? I do need a man in a sense, like, I don't want to sleep by myself every night. Mm-hmm. And it's been different the past few months. Hello, Freckles Bay. But I don't want to, I don't want to just, what's your face? But what is your take on this? Like, do you think the feminist movement, the color purple, have a factor in Black women being single? And we're only being specific. I know there's arguments, well, there's white women who are great. I'm not a white woman. I only want to talk about my community, my Black women, my Black women, peers. What's your take?
So, I think that, I feel like a lot of guys don't really realize, okay, number one, the system of just patriarchy, okay? Let's start there. Because, patriarchy, okay, I feel like patriarchy is, it designed majority of the systems that, we kind of follow by anyways as it is. So I just think, all right, that's number one. So a lot of this we have to blame on ourselves, as men, because it's okay, we designed the system like this. So when it comes to, the pressures and all this other stuff, we designed the system. So, and when I say we, maybe I personally didn't design the system, right? Because it's hundreds, thousands of years old, whatever, of just different ways and social norms and shit. But as we as men, we have to kind of take accountability of, okay, this is kind of this. We benefit from this in some way, shape, or form. However, when it comes to women and submission and all this other stuff, whatever, I know for me personally, I do want a woman. I wouldn't even say necessarily submission. But I do want a woman to be yeah, that's my man. That's me. When you see him, no, that's me. Da da da. Type shit like that. However, I'm more so the person I'm attracted to someone who is more stronger. I don't like the passiveness and so I feel I'm not gonna sound different in that aspect of but most men I feel are looking for a really submissive just kind of do this for me, and it's to me, it's cringe. It's almost cringe because I'm just that's not really what I look for, in a woman. So that's just me. However, I will also say too that when it comes to women wanting to kind of take ownership, be independent, just be themselves and not really be attached to a man. When you kind of make reference to the color purple, stuff like that. I think personally that it's good. Because you have that individualistic kind of mindset to be able to be yourself and be your own. So I personally don't see much of an issue with it. But again, that's just me. But then we also have to think we're in different times now too. Back in the 60s and 50s and even 40s, in times like that in general, motherfuckers would just be having whole families down the street. A whole nother family down the street, and just the woman was supposed to be okay with it. The wife was just supposed to be okay with it. It was supposed to be just I even have stories of my own grandparents, my grandma, I don't know, beating on my stepdad. Not my stepdad, my grandpa or something like that, because he done been out, messing with Sally Sue down the street, and everybody knows she thought and then bought and this and another, whatever. We've heard and seen stories. We even have other family things that I ain't gonna get to because I ain't gonna put, what I mean. But at the end of the day, some intertwining within there, that it's just everything was just supposed to be okay. And here we are, this family unit, the matriarchy, patriarchy, grandparents leading the family, stuff like that. And here we are, I'm just finding out all the tea about all these crazy things that happened back in the day of all the things they were doing. And I'm just saying whoa, so back in the days, y'all was just okay with this, and even now, you still see some of it too. like, you know, women taking men back, you know, knowing that they got side pieces, and especially in the entertainment industry where they know that they, like, you know, they'll be like, oh, like Sweetie and Quavo, where like she knew kind of like Quavo was kind of like that, but then Quavo made the initiative to like, okay, let's be together, whatever, we're gonna be exclusive, knowing that he's still thotting out here, like knowing that he still got these side pieces. But it's just like, that's also the industry. But I think that's a good depiction of what actually happens in real like life, like even outside of the industry. Like motherfuckers really think they could just have a free pass to just go out here and, you know, just do what you know. And I feel like that's different than dating. If you have a person that you're like attached to, that you're committed to, you can't go out here and just be dating other people. Like you're supposed to be committed to that one specific person. So I'm just confused at where all this other, like, you know, whatever it comes from. And
let's dive into what you said earlier about how, like, you know, relationships are different now than they were then in some respects. Like there's a lot of like, you know, there's couples who made it through and who say, well, I've been married to my spouse for 60 years, and then we'll ask them, wow, what was the secret? What is the, you know, the trick to staying married? And I think oftentimes those marriages are held together because of just convenience. It's convenient, and considering the time that they were in, there's this dependency that the women, the wives had on the husband, right? You know, I don't have the education yet to get my own home, my own car, and my own way of going about things. I have to rely on this man, and so I'm gonna stay in this marriage and just take whatever he gives, you know, whatever he gives me. I'll take a hit or two if he hits me. I'll take infidelity 1 or 2 if he cheats on me, because he's my support system. So I don't even like the whole, well, my parents been married for 40 years. Why can't women today just stick it out? What is like, well,
but he was really
abusive.
He was really dragging yeah. like his wife's ass around the yard once a week in front of the neighbors, and like the neighbors just looked and watched, or the cops wouldn't even like the cops. Was, I mean, like, come
that's
on,
just Sally
bro.
and Craig.
They do that once a week. He drag her ass by her hair across, like, whoa.
But
like,
they have that stamp of, well, we've been together for 45 years.
It was nothing but God. Like after he done like tap that ass, you supposed to go in there and just pray and put an ice patch. Like, what the fuck were we doing? Like, what? What?
It was
like,
the grace of God. Hallelujah.
I'm just not even like I don't even I just go to church after he done whooped you. Like, whoa, like that's not. But again, like I also understand too, because like, you know, from the aspect of like just like domestic violence in general, like it's easier to just kind of sit here as people and be like, oh, okay, because like, you know damn well you probably not just gonna sit. Well, at least my assumption is you're not just gonna sit there and let a motherfucker just put his hands on you like that. And me personally, I'm not the type of motherfucker that's gonna put my hands, you know, on a woman in general, you know, whatever the case is. That's not me. But looking at it from like outside in, we're like, okay, well, why the fuck you letting somebody beat your ass like this, whatever. But sometimes, like how addressing the issue you talked about before, convenience. You gonna let a man put his hand on you when you got a roof over your head, you got a car, you got, you know, your children. You want to make sure your children are grown up and it's like with stability, all this other stuff. Yeah, and like
I'm okay if I have a busted lip once a week. At least I have a roof over my head, right?
So like my thing is like it's not acceptable, but actually understanding from our perspective, like what does that even look like in the instance of like, okay, look at us now, right? Like you're a black woman, you're independent. You're 30. You're living in a really nice, you know, like high rise downtown,
you know, like flexing on these hoes,
doing yourself. But like, how many women were doing that? 40, 50 years ago,
right?
Like where you are now is where a lot of probably women wouldn't have been in general. Like I watched the show and I know that it's like more so. I mean, it was a white dude. However, I feel like it was definitely a depiction of like what happened before. But I was in sociology class. My sociology professor, she was like, okay, at the beginning of class, you guys are going to watch episode 1, season 1 of Mad Men. Mm-hmm. Have you watched Mad Men?
Yeah.
So, like, I was like, okay, bet. And she knew she was doing because you knew you were going to get hooked to it. Like, she knew you were going to get, because like the first episode is whoever's the producers for that shit was like, awesome, because the first episode we watched and pretty much half the class got addicted to it, and we all, you know, I watched it all the way through. But you see how, like, bro, literally, like, okay, he did what this dude had a whole apartment in the city and a home that he just went back and forth to. Like, I was just like, yo, like, what? But I mean, it doesn't address, because it's probably not a lot of black folk that would, you know, did that, especially economically where we were at that time. Right. However, it's just the attitude in general in that time period where a motherfucker could have another apartment in the city where he could go and bring, you know, females back and forth, you know, women back and forth, and then go home and have his family at home too as well. So it's just like, and then you see how his wife kind of stuck around, stayed around, but it's not even that, like, address the fact that not only after she left, she just went to another guy and got married to another guy. He went and got married to another woman, but he went and got married. She went and got married to another guy because it was just like, okay, well, I mean, after that divorce, he might have gave her a little something here and there, whatever, to, like, you know, survive. But she had kids, and it was just best up, you know what I mean, for safety reasons, all that, just have another man in the house. And so I don't know. Like, to me, I was just like, I mean, look at the stuff they were doing back in the day. Old folks always be talking about some young people just be doing this. Bro, y'all were doing the same shit. Mm-hmm. Just off the record. It just wasn't so. Off the record, yeah. Really though.
I think you know, there's this pick a side. Do you want to be the traditional woman, or do you want to be the modern day woman? Do you still want to be independent? That means you're gonna be independent with no man, or you're gonna be a traditional woman who is, you know, ready to serve and cater to and submit to her man, her husband, her boyfriend, whomever. And there's this, like, there's a lot of black men who say, well, you can't pick and choose. You gotta, if you're gonna be a traditional woman all the way. If you're gonna be a modern day woman, be a modern day woman all the way. And I feel like
that's just not how it works, though.
That's not how it works.
That's not. Like, you have to be either or. That's what's wrong with this society. You have to be either or when it comes to gender roles, when it comes to sexuality, when it comes to everything. You have to be either or. And I think that people get into this idea that you have to be a certain whatever, like, you have to be a certain type of black, you got to be a certain type of woman, you got to be a certain type of whatever. Like, it's just there, like, everything to me, identity, and everything in identity, well, most things I would say in identity, almost everything, and I'm just giving that leniency or whatever to say almost everything, but almost everything is a spectrum. Like, literally almost everything is a spectrum. Like, everybody thinks because you're black, you gotta do this. Because you're a woman, you gotta do this. Because you're a man, you gotta do this. Because you're straight, you gotta do this. You gotta be gay, you gotta do this. Bi, you gotta do this. You're this, you gotta, like, it's just, it's tiring, bro. Mm-hmm. Like, it's literally tiring because you're suppressing what a person is supposed to be and how they're supposed to be. Like, for me personally, I would love a woman that's both. Like, sometimes, like, as a man, like, we're always supposed to, like, say you have this, like, you know, quote unquote, like, leadership, you know, within patriarchy is always a man supposed to lead. But sometimes that shit is literally overwhelming and tiring. And sometimes it's just like from a man's perspective, like for mental health reasonings. Sometimes like, yo, let me just kick back. You make the decision. You do it. You tell me what you want to do, and I'll do what you're talking about. Sometimes it's literally like, I think it's good to just do that. Like, just be able to share some of that responsibility. I don't mind, like, you know, kind of being like 70-30 or 80-20 if you know, if a woman wants to kind of do that. It doesn't always, because I know growing up it was always, because my dad passed, but for my, when I was 3 years old, so I grew up with just my mom for the most part. But my cousins all the time, can they come over to the house? They gotta go ask their daddy. Can they do this? They gotta go ask their daddy. Mm-hmm. Like, why can't you make that decision sometimes and just say yes? Mm-hmm. Like, they literally had to call their dad at work sometimes to ask if they could come over and spend the night at the house.
Yeah.
But like, they came out of your hole though. You carried them for 9 fucking months, and you mean to tell me that you can't like tell them whether, like, give them permission? Like, that's so weak. Like, that's so like, what? That's so messed up. Like, I'm just thinking to myself, like, and at the time as kids, we're just like, oh, this gotta ask their dad, and we're literally socialized to think like from child, you know, and that's something small. No one's telling you about the structure, but the psychology behind like being a child, asking my aunt, who is my mom's sister, who's blood related, and my uncle's not, he's by marriage, to go ask him if they can come over to our house. Socially, like, and psychologically, that's just like instilling something in our head without even like explicitly saying
that the woman can't make the decision. Exactly. She has to double check or even just put that all on the man too.
Exactly.
I see what you're saying. I grew up in that household where, yeah, you do ask but my thing is, like, my parents were, like, my mom she was more of the, they say, like, the woman is the neck and the man is the head. Like, the woman would, okay, we're taking a left, and then he'll make that turn and take that left. Like, she would be more of that deciding factor. She's the one my dad answers to. And there's a respect there as far as, like, what we're doing. My mom's opinion really mattered and matters in her marriage with my dad. So I think, different strokes for different folks. I just see, like, the way my mom is, she's very more independent. She's not much of that submissive, domestic type of woman. So even amongst her sisters, it's really kind of like, whoa, like, she's not that girl. She's not that girl. Like, that maternal bug, it's not that girl. I mean, great relationship with her now, like, but growing up, it wasn't that great. But it just has a lot to do with just her being, like, and I see a lot of myself in her when it comes to, I want to make my own decisions. And yes, in respect to my partner, I still want to be able to be my full self and not feel quieted. But let's get into, like, because I think about how there's this, like, expectation for the black woman to be submissive, yet there's a stereotype that the Beckys, the white girls, are more submissive to the black men, right? Like, there's this, like, well, this black woman would cuss me out, will call me out of my name, will call me ain't shit nigga, da, 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 right? But the Becky around the corner is quick to suck my dick. Is quick to, rub my head and make me feel good after a long day. So as a black man, I'm going to step out of this black woman attraction thing and move towards a white woman because they're easier to get along with.
Okay, all right. Let me address, because, like, now I'm just like, whoo. I feel like it's not.
Let's do it. Yeah.
I feel like it's not.
Let me just cut you off because call me racist because I can't stand. Let me just. Is the mic on? Thank you. I can't stand seeing a black man with a non-black woman. And there's a reason why I said non-black woman. Because I'm talking about Hispanics. I'm going to go there. I know you half Hispanic because you lived in Guatemala for 10 years, whatever.
You just, like, got everything. But you know what my thing is, too?
Hispanics, Armenian, Kim Kardashian types, white women. Why aren't you with a sister?
Okay, so let me address something first.
Please.
When I was in Colombia, not Guatemala.
It was in Guatemala?
No, even when I was there, I was with an Afro-Colombian. Like, it was a black woman, like, not African-American, but she was black. Like it was not, no, like, that's my thing. Okay, but I'll address this though, right? So,
what was her hair texture though?
Her hair texture was, okay, so if you have 4C, it might have been like 4B, 4A.
No, okay.
So, yeah.
I guess. All right, go off.
Anyways, I don't know. Like, I feel like, I don't want to say that it's true that black women are more, whatever you want to kind of describe, insert adjective, like whatever, versus other women being more submissive. Like, I have dated all around, whatever the case is.
So basically, you're here to tell me that you dated a white woman.
Oh, no, I haven't dated a white woman.
Okay. I was about to end the podcast right now.
Sheesh. No, I have not dated a white woman. But I will say, like, I've been involved with all different types of people, right? But I will say, like, you do kind of have that submissive approach from other types of women. But I think it's more so, like, cultural. Like, number one is cultural. And then number two, I also think that it's like the fact that it's a black man, how we're perceived as black men, like, by society. So I think that's a factor. But also there are some cultural factors. I think it's a lot of stuff. Because I don't think, again, I'm just the type of person, I acknowledge the complexities of everything. Nothing is just like straight shot. And then I also think that because of our experience as black people, black women are the way they are because of the experiences. And that goes all the way from whether it be the motherland, whether it be, you know, during transatlantic slave trade, you know, during those things, like through those historical events, things like that. I feel like black women have had to be stronger because of going through those things. And so I don't think it's like a what do you want to call it, like an aggressiveness or like, you know, a lot of the adjectives that people use like that. I think it's more the fact that like because of those experiences, I feel like that black women have experienced through like those historically, you know, events or whatever. I think that it shapes and molds like generations and generations of like the quote unquote black woman and the attitude of a black woman. And not attitude as in like, oh, I'm mad, but attitude as in like literally what the word means, attitude, whether it's positive, negative, in the middle, whatever. But I think because of having to be that strong black woman narrative, having to be, you know, think about it this way, having kids snatched away from you or the case. And I'm taking us back to those days because it literally stems from that.
Yeah.
Like people want to, oh, well, that's back. No, like it literally stems from that. Like residue. Our culture
absolutely
stems from that. So I feel like that's why you have, because like those other ethnicities, I'm not gonna say they haven't experienced it, because I would even say from, you know, Latino women, you know, you have the indigenous and, you know, things that happen there, but we have to address our own, like we're talking about slave trade now. We're not talking about Aztecs, Mayans, Europeans, and all that. We're talking about slave trade, which I think historically has been way more brutal, you know, et cetera, than a lot of other places. And I'm not trying to discount their experiences, or, you know, I want to acknowledge the struggles that they went to too as well. But as a black person, we all know where we stand and what we go through and all the, you know, issues and stuff like that we have. So that's why I feel like it stems from that. I personally don't want to be like, oh, well, black women are more aggressive. I feel like black women have to be more like cognizant of like things they say, decisions they make, whatever the case is, versus, you know, a lot of other different types of women can be submissive, can just like be on the back burner, whatever the case is, because that hasn't been their experience growing up. Like think about your experience as a black girl growing up. You've probably had to assert yourself a lot more, because especially even being a darker skinned woman, you've probably had to assert yourself a lot more from people, whether they're talking about your skin, whether they're talking about your hair, whether talking about you, this and that, whatever. Does that not shape you? Does that not shape your experience and how you may react or like do certain things? People may come to say, oh, let's say someone, for instance, I'm saying this is true, right? Let's say someone calls you aggressive or something like that, right? Typically, black people have been, you know, and growing up have been picked on, you know, things like that, whether it's for their skin, their skin color, their hair texture, their attitude, maybe their living situation, whatever the case is. And after like having to deal with that for so long, you may end up having somewhat of a more exciting reaction to certain stuff whenever you're approached with certain things or whatever the case is, and that may go in relationship, friendships, whatever. So I say all that to say really in general is like it's all about experiences. So when it comes to black women and not being submissive enough, like other women or whatever the case is, I think that like in general, like whatever you want to look at it, the way you want to look at it, I feel like if you're a black man and you can't handle what a black woman has to offer, it's just like if you can't handle heat, get out the kitchen type thing. So if you want some, and I also feel like if you're strong enough as a black man, you would be able to deal with a strong black woman versus feeling the need to go to something that is more submissive and easier to just like do what you want them to do. Like if you were like that, like you say you are, you'd be able to deal with it. You wouldn't have to go to a more submissive or a more like, if you were like that, if you were how you claim to be, like you head honcho, you big man, like you should be able to deal with it. You wouldn't have to go to something that's more submissive. But okay, we haven't addressed that.
You know, a little context about me. As much shit as I talk, right? You know I talk a lot of shit, right? You know I'm a little bit of a shit talker, and I like to get at niggas like, get at me, dog. Like I'm DMX female style. That's me. And my listeners know this, right? So with that being said, I'm completely different when it comes to a romantic relationship with my dude. Like, I'm quiet as a mouse. Yes, massa. Yes. So I know, not on some massa stuff, but like on some like, if I respect you, because I've been with guys who I didn't really respect. I didn't really find them attractive, yet I was in that relationship because of convenience, because I felt like I needed to be. I felt like my worth was attached to being in a relationship. You know, there's a lot of times Black women are dogged for being single. You're just gonna be single and unmarried. No one's gonna marry. Like, I felt like I had to be in my last relationship because, okay, this is closer to getting married. This is closer to having my worth be stamped. So I was like dealing with a lot of like my own internal self-esteem stuff. Growing out of that though, and being the woman I am today, I really just like what I like. I'm very mindful of the fact that, okay, not only do I respect you, not only do I admire you and I revere you, I want you to feel like king. You know, so like with the guy I'm seeing now, Freckles Bay, like I would never call him nigga, but I call you nigga, but like, but not even on some disrespect. Let me give context. No, but like I say it with endearing, right? Like I'm not calling you out your, well, I am calling you out your name technically, but like I'm not doing it to like insult you. I don't think you're a bad guy. You're a great guy. And yet the man I'm seeing in that romantic setting, I don't ever want to call him out his name. Like, I don't ever want to like be like, oh, you ain't shit. That's why you ain't, like, I don't even cuss at him. Like, it's so different because I respect him, because I see him as a king. I revere him, and not even on some like, well, I'm just going to quiet. Like, I'm still my whole self. What I said earlier was just a little joke. I'm not quiet as a mouse, but like, I am still, like, I'm more cognizant of what I say and how I say it. Like, I really respect you. And if you're going to be my partner, I want you to feel respected, you know? Previous guys I've been with, I would call them niggas. I would call them out their name. Oh, that's why you ain't shit. I would cuss at them. But that's a testimony to the fact that I just didn't like you. I didn't respect you. I didn't honor you as a man. Because I think there's honor as a man. You know, there's niggas and there's men. Right? Mm-hmm. There's niggas and then there's men. I've dated a lot of niggas.
But I think the intimacy part of it is what I feel like what you might be addressing though, because it's like
Mr. Wright. I dated a lot of niggas. Do you hear me? God. Niggas like gutter.
But why?
But why? Because that was what was available. That was what was in stock. That was what was in the back room on express order.
Okay, but I feel like this ties into like the topic that you had about Russell Wilson. I feel like this is really a segue into that topic. Like, I really feel like that's a segue into that, like, Russell Wilson topic. Because you're talking about how there's a lot of gutter niggas and that's about it. But, like, what about now? Like, is this your Russell Wilson? Is this your Russell Wilson? Or is he like...
Freckles made my Russell... Maybe. Yeah, I think so. No, okay. Let me not... I don't like being all gushy. Because I'm a hard bitch. Look. Oh my God. I got a gate, a wall. Jeez. I got guns up. I'm a gangster. From Boston.
From Boston.
Yeah, so annoying.
From Boston.
No,
Boston.
what was it about? Okay. Ultimately, like, when you when you had a history of dating people who are disrespectful to you, don't consider you, are inconsiderate, are not thoughtful, naturally there's a lack of respect you have for that person, right? That's what I've been through. Why is your face like that? Naturally, that's been my experience. My listeners know this. I talked about Boston Bear, who has been a diagnosed narcissist. Okay, I diagnosed him because I have the credentials. But if I would have put him into a lab, they will be like, yeah, he's a narcissist too. Like, he's certified narcissist. And when you deal with someone who's like, just like hood, I'm not saying all hood guys are, you know, yeah, I'm not saying all hood guys are like that, but I feel like sometimes when you come from a rough upbringing, there is this like attachment to stay that way. As with the guy I'm seeing now, he had a little bit of rough upbringing, but he is more of a man than I've ever experienced with previous guys. And so naturally, I'm going to respect that more. I'm going to want to make sure you're happy, you're good. Like, okay, let me suck your dick right now. Because you love me, you care for me, you know what I mean? Like, there is this, like, I want to suck your dick.
Oh,
you know what I'm talking about? There's like, I want to give, I want to submit, I want to suck your dick. So why is that? What's wrong with you? You making me uncomfortable.
But like, no, I'm just like, because it's funny as hell. Like, it's funny as hell. Like, cause you like, I feel like I'm seeing you, and this is really funny because I'm really getting to see you in a more intimate and like different light. What's up, y'all? But be a plug, shameless plug.
Oh, okay. Hi guys. So we are on. So Walter Wright is a guest on my podcast. God Built This, and we're recording this week's episode. So tune in on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and SoundCloud this Tuesday for the full audio episode available.
All right, continue what you was talking
I'm Maxine. So yeah, how basically, if I respect you, I want to suck your dick.
So you talking about like, but like you when you yo, it is getting real. Like when you talk about like the submissiveness part, like you're talking about submissiveness and all
a black woman, and I'm only speaking for black women. And sure, we're not a monolith, right? Okay, get it? Niggas just found out what that word means. They want to say it every day. We're not a monolith. African women are not a monolith. Okay. The fuck? Y'all just found out that word. But we're not a monolith, I get it. But I find it very common that if a black woman respects her man, respects him, he takes care of home, he makes her feel like a queen, he makes me feel good. Freckles Bay makes me feel so good. Like, damn, this is good. This is what I've been wanting. Every time I see you, sucking your dick. Like, I'm sorry. Take off your pants, right? Like, every time I see him sucking his dick. Respond.
I mean, like, I feel like most men are gonna want that though. I feel like most men are gonna want that aspect of it because I feel like this. Like, I've always been the type to be like, all right, well, I want to be good enough to, like, what do you call it? Like, have enough money to take care of house and home. Like, my wife does not have to work. Like, if she wants to have a little side time shit, not to be bored, like, cool. But at the same time, I'm also like, that's ideal. But at the same time, it's like, I'm not gonna be mad if like you have a full-time job, you got a full-time career that you're like working towards. Because to be honest, I'm attracted to someone who's ambitious anyway. So I feel like I'm gonna end up anyway. Somebody who has a full-blown career and like going for them, going for themselves. But it's just the fact that you should feel comfortable enough to know that like if you decide at any point in time that like that's not where you want to go, then like I got you, like type stuff. So like, but at the same time, I feel like I'm the type of person that like I give, like my love language is giving gifts, and not even just gifts as buying stuff, but just like making a person happy and feel good about themselves, about their existence, about being with me, etc. So how you're talking about like every time you would do like you got to do what you got to do, like,
and what is it? I want you to be specific.
Oh my god!
Say what I said.
Oh my god!
All right, go ahead.
The double fist gawk 5,000. So
what?
The double fist gawk twisty hand like 5,000. Yeah. Yes,
okay.
Ma'am.
Okay.
So what I'm talking about is just in general, like whenever you like. If that's how you show your intimacy, your love, like whatever, at that point in time, although there's different ways that you can do it and stuff, that's the chosen way that, like, you know, most people do enjoy, you know. But I'm just thinking to myself, like, if that's how you know what I mean, like that.
And I'm talking about like if I see you in the car, I'm gonna suck your dick. Like that's how much you make me happy. You know what I mean? Like that's how. Okay, let's go. Like, oh, you come in.
And I feel like that in itself is just like that's dope as hell because I feel like he knows that that's like a thing that you're like that's kind of like your way of just kind of showing your love at them. Like yeah, like dope, hella dope. So I don't know. For me, I respect it. I respect it, and I think that yeah.
Yeah, and of course I'm being funny and honest still. But ultimately it's about if you make me feel good, if you make me feel like the queen that I am, I am going to respect you. I'm going to revere you. I'm going to consider you. I'm going to ask you, hey, what do you think about X, Y, and Z? Do you think I should, I value you. So that's where I'm at right now with La Bay. With the Bay. We could get into this next topic because we kind of alluded to earlier, like the Russell Wilson, but specifically this is going to be about Married at First Sight. Did you get a chance to watch that episode? Or like
so
any
I looked
episode?
at some of the I know what you're talking about too.
Okay.
And I looked at like a kind of like a blog of like what essentially what to
Okay, good. So I'm glad that you did. Whenever you get a chance, you can watch the episode because child, you'll be like, Maxine, what? I want us to focus on Clara and Ryan, okay? Ryan is a black man, Clara is a white woman. Already, I'm like, okay. But, okay, fine. I know I talked a lot of shit earlier about, like, I don't want to see a black man. Okay, but sometimes, if it's love, it's love. Love is love. Love is love. Fine. But that's not the focus for for this topic. What I want us to, like, get into is how he has yet to smash that poom poom.
Oh my god. Okay, okay.
And let's get into it because they've been, they get married at first sight, hence the name of the show.
Exactly.
And they are a month in of their marriage. All the other couples have had sex.
He has not smashed.
He has not smashed. She's not an ugly girl. I think there's physical attraction shared on both ends, so it's not even on some but he hasn't penetrated. But here's the catch. Here's the motherfucking catch.
What's the catch?
She said in the confessionals and to the other girls, she's like, we've done everything else. Like she didn't say it, but basically she sucked him off. She gave him a handy. Maybe he fingered her, if that. But like basically what they were doing were more so pleasurable for him and for him to get off rather than for her. Like she didn't really get much. So I don't think he ate her out. He probably didn't put anything in her ass. Shit like that.
Last.
Okay, let me hear that. Okay, let me hear your take.
It's not gonna last.
Interesting. Okay, but let me give you more into it because Ryan.
You could give me more into it all day long. It's not going to last.
Why do you say that? Okay,
because Marissi, if you had a dude. Okay, let me.
Oh, this is too much for your Instagram live?
Yeah, let me because.
You got parents watching? Oh, who's on my. Oh, hey, Godfrey!
And Mora too.
Oh, Mora, hey! We're just now looking. So, sorry, you guys. We're on audio, of course. So, those who are just listening, once the episode is out, they're hearing us talking to the Instagram live. So, it's pretty interesting. What? Okay, so it's not gonna last. But let me give you some context. So, Ryan comes from a religious background. He is religious himself. He goes to church, Christian religious. Like he grew up in a household, if I were to guess, because I grew up in that type of household, religious background as well, where sex is not really a topic. You don't talk about your sexuality. You don't talk about, okay, when you get married, make sure you lay down. Like none of that is like a discussion. It's as if you're just supposed to know what to do when you become said husband. So there is this probably repression that he has from his sexuality, and he's not able to really be, and I also feel like he may be low-key gay, because in a previous relationship he was in, he said how he was with her a little bit over a year. They had sex once, twice, 3 times a lady. Like, it was barely there. So I'm wondering, you know, what the fuck is going on? Why isn't it gonna last? What do you think?
Because I feel like that's an intimate part of like showing people or your significant other like how you love them. Like it's an act of service. Like,
ooh, say that.
Like I feel like sex is an act of service. Like, because how a good, I feel like, session, right, would go is
session.
Yeah, like, I mean, you just exchange kind of, you know, doing what you do. But then sometimes there's just times where I just feel like the whole time I just want to please my woman. Like, there's just like the whole time. Absolutely the whole time, like literally do nothing else but just.
So you'll push her head away if she wanted to give you head?
I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say that, but like if I'm you know, if I'm feasting or whatever the case is, or what, you know, like, let me do me, like, move, like, just do, like, sometimes you come home from a hard day of work and then you just be like, I just want to, you know, eat mother cat. Like,
the phone went down.
I'm just saying, like,
I'm sorry, you wanted to do what?
Eat the cat. And the cake. Anime. I'm just saying, but real talk, like, I'm fucking weak, bro. all I'm saying is, though, like sometimes that's what you want to do. And like, my thing is that in itself makes like you look like closer, because okay, for instance, you know how people get mad at each other to come on makeup sex, you know, whatever, like that's an intimate part. Like, you get to know each other, and I think I wouldn't say tabooness, but like the fact that you know that person. Okay, let's say you have even a high ass body count, whatever the case is, right? I still think the fact that like you've met probably hundreds of thousands of people or came in contact with hundreds of thousands of people ever in your life, none of them have been able to see you intimately how the people who have been able to do what they have done, you know, to you. So like, I feel like at the end of the day, if you've been sexually active with someone, then you open up a gate to kind of let them in and see a part that no one else is seeing. So I feel like that even that idea of it all is just like, oh shit, like it just connects, you. And then like, it's also different because when you're with a significant other, like, there's a difference between fucking and making love. And when you're with your significant other, you open up that portal of like making love. And I feel like that's also like when it comes to like, okay, even with body count and stuff like that, you got motherfuckers that you just, okay, this is just for the night, or you know, you just here for a quick fix or whatever the case is. You got that. I'm completely throwing that out, zip it up, lock it away, throw it away. I'm only addressing the folks that you have like intimately like made love to. That's what you do when you're in a relationship. And I feel like in their like, that's how that connection comes. It's not just like, oh, we're fucking, like, we're making love though. We're making love now. Like, we're actually making love. Like,
we're doing this act of service.
Exactly. Like, so like, there's certain things that I'm not gonna do if like I'm just like hitting it. Like, I'm just hitting it. I'm probably not about to eat the cat. Right. Probably not about to eat no booty either.
And I'm probably gonna suck your dick. Right.
And I'm probably not gonna suck no toe. I like to, like, there's nothing that's off limits for me. Whenever it's with something that is like somebody that is like
North Carolina.
But you know that's how we do it, and that's how we
Alpha man.
But like in general, though, you know, you get what I'm saying. Like,
I get
that's
it.
how that's how you do.
There's a caress. There's a gentleness. There's a softness that is had when you are making love, when you are engaging in that intimacy.
Because I feel like it comes more than just like fucking. Like, now, like, yeah, there's penetration, but like now I'm appreciating your body now.
Yeah,
I'm appreciating, like, I'm
noticing your freckles.
Exactly. Like, you like every, like, especially a nice like session, you're every nook and cranny. That shit is all night. That shit is like you really like, yo, this person is dope. I'm attached to this person. Like, ooh, now I'm getting chills. Like, because like that, it's the connection. But for real, so if you don't have that part, then I also think too that like that even leads to people going out on one another, and you know, because like sex life is huge. That's why people cheat a lot of times. Even too, it's not that I feel like sometimes people don't love their significant other, but some people cheat because they're not getting how they want to get it. Like Clara, her name's Clara, right?
Yeah, Clara. Yeah.
Clara. She might love him to death as a person, but that specific like aspect of the relationship is not where she, you know, wanted to be.
Yeah.
She might go out and step out on him. Not to say that that's I'm just giving reasonings. I'm not saying whether it's right, whether it's wrong. It's obviously wrong. But like right or wrong, I'm not defending anything or I'm not taking up for anything. But I'm simply explaining the logic behind why people step out. He can't blame her for stepping. Well, I won't say he can't blame her because I'm trying to be
ultimately
careful.
if you are reflective, if you're a reflective person and you sit down and you realize, okay, this happened during this time period, no sex was had, no intimacy of any level. You didn't ask me how my day was. You never cared about what I was doing today. You just went to work, came home, and went to bed. Yep. That is absolutely the factors of one stepping out of a relationship. So of course it's not to excuse it, but it's to excuse it in a way. Like it's
just boring.
There's some context behind it. So we have to be understanding of that. Why do you think he's not fucking her?
I mean, like, I'll put it this way. Like,
cause he keeps on saying, every time the topic comes up, whether it's through a therapist, because they'll be visited by a counselor from the show, and they'll ask them, you know, how's it going? You know, have you guys, you know, consummated the marriage yet? And he says how he wants to continue to build that aspect of trust and connection with his wife, and that is the reason why he has yet to go there yet, because he's not all the way there. If that makes sense. Like, he's very methodical. Like, he's very just like, everything has to be in this way, in this order. I don't think he's ever had a one night stand, which is fine, but like, I don't think he ever he doesn't even show any type of affection. Like, he doesn't really show. I've never seen scenes of him holding her from the back or like kissing her on her neck. Like, but I think none of that
has to do with like, cause like at first when you first came. Okay, so let's address this first. So when you came, I was like, okay, maybe he's gay. Like, it's a possibility. However, there's so many different types of sexualities that people can identify with that just kind of describes what he's going through, his feelings and emotions. Because people can be asexual, or people can be like, there's so many sexualities where like you can kind of be asexual but not really, and then, like, you know, there's a long list. That bitch is probably like a 800-page book of different sexualities. And
here's the thing: if you are asexual, then you shouldn't be marrying someone who's.
But check this out.
Unaware of that.
He can have, and sexuality is a spectrum, so he could be all different types or whatever the case is. Now, hold on, no. Here's the other thing. I think that it also could be like psychological. Like, okay, he could have some, like, if you weren't hugged by your mother, or like some, because if he's not showing affection,
okay,
like, and I mean, when you're with someone, like, I can understand the whole, okay, not having sex till you're married, whatever. But you see how Russell Wilson and Sierra, like, they didn't have sex, but boy, they popped out 2 kids in less than 2 years. It seemed like, you feel me? Like, I mean, they had their, so I get that method of it or whatever, right? Like, we all can kind of get with that. Oh, you say you're not, it's a little, like, but okay, whatever. We all can kind of get down with the whole, all right, well, let's wait till marriage. Like, that's in a lot of people's religions, whatever. That's pretty acceptable. Like, it's not what everybody does, but it's pretty acceptable if someone says they want to wait till marriage.
It's not uncommon.
Yeah. So everyone is just like, all right, cool. But what he's doing, like, y'all married and like you still not, that's not as common. So I think that, like, I think it could definitely be like psychological or like some type of socio-emotional, like something where he needs to address maybe something going on in his life, because like that just doesn't seem like the actual like norm, because I feel like we've kind of been normalized in like with our sexualities, with like even going to elementary school, middle school, high school, going and being in those like, you know, spaces and stuff like that. So that's why it's like when children are homeschooled, all this stuff, they come out, everyone's talking about how they come out weird, because we get so many of our socialization skills, even like ways of how we feel about sexuality and everything, from like socializing with people. So I think that could be his issue. Maybe there's something that went on at home. that like he's having an issue with, or maybe it's some emotional something that he's like suffering from that could be like that. I know for me, it's a no.
What's a no?
Like, that's how I show my intimacy, and I need to kind of like, we need to do like pre-trials before.
Pre-trials. And I think about like, okay, for me, I guess I feel like every love language is my love language. Like, give it to me all. Like, give me your time, give me your attention. You know, sure, give me a gift. I'm not really much of a gift, like, I expect to get, I don't really, because I didn't grow up that way. Maybe I could be open to that and you could show me a whole new world. But I'm not much of a materialistic girl.
But even gift giving doesn't have to be taking you on a trip. Like, if I know you like Almond Joys.
Nah, take me on the trip. That'd be
I mean, like, yeah, you can take me on the trip. If I like Almond Joys, I might. What shit? I was at the gas station. I got you an Almond Joy.
I do like that. Okay, that's good. Yeah.
Like,
get me some Reese's.
Yeah, like just.
Right.
I know that's what you like, and it's like, oh, you thought about me. You know what? Come here, let me give you some fucking.
Right. Let me go ahead and suck your dick.
Like, I'm an Almond Joy. Like, you feel me? But hey, like.
You gave me Reese's. You know I love Reese's. Go ahead. I feel like with me though, there's this because I grew up in an environment where very religious, Christian background, believing in the Lord, Jesus Christ, all of that, and for Black women to at all have any say so when it comes to sexuality was not much of a thing for me growing up. So growing into now more of my identity and more of just my comfort with it all, it is totally different from how I was raised, right? So there's that. But I also feel like when I'm in a relationship with somebody and he's taking his time, like there's this attraction, like we've kissed, but he's taking his time, like he wants to be respectful. He wants me to feel like it's not about the sex at all. Like I care for you as a person. Like you're someone who I actually really care for, and I don't want you to feel like this cheap person, right? I still felt like in the beginning stages of me and Freckles Babe, like I still felt like, oh my gosh, like what if he's rejecting me? Like he doesn't love me, he doesn't care for me. This is not real to him because he has yet to, hit it from the back, And I would sometimes, you fix your face. I would like. There's some growing that I need to do as far as like I would attach one's affection towards me with their physical touch to me or sexual touch in particular. I would feel like, well, if he's not having sex with me, then he doesn't care for me, he doesn't love me, and it's not always the case. That's what I'm realizing, right? Like, I think there's time for it because I've been through very different relationships or situationships with niggas, and I call them niggas on purpose because it was quick, bam, thank you ma'am, first date, hit it and quit it, bye, and because I was so quick to have sex, I associated with, well, that's just how it's supposed to be. So now being into something with someone who we initially took our time and there was more care and concern with how it may come off, it was something I had to learn. Like, oh wait, we could take our time and you still do have these real feelings for me and it still is something that's genuine. Oh, okay. So I think again, is a lot of these, like, we have to do some unlearning when it comes to sex and what that means. What's up with your face? I want to punch you right now.
I mean, like, I guess when it comes to sex, like,
okay, let me say it like this: when you like someone for real, right? Like, damn, I really like this person. Are you quick to have sex the first night, or do you wait like maybe 2-3 weeks? Whatever that time frame is, but do you wait it out?
Months. I've waited months before, but like,
and that's what I'm saying.
My thing is like, I'm not.
Some things are worth the wait.
Yeah, and I'm not even really like a one night stand type of guy. That's not really my thing. Like, not to say it hasn't happened before, but it's just like one of those things where like I don't know. Like, I feel like I can handle that shit myself. Like, if it's really like that deep,
right?
Like, it's just, I don't know. I'm the type of person where I religiously get tested every 3 months. Like, I'm just that's my thing. Like, I like to take care of my sexual health, whatever. That's not to say that people who sleep with people on the first night is not cognizant of their sexual health. However, I'm just type of motherfucker, and I'm like, all right, well, I got the app on my phone. Like, I got the LabCorp app on my phone, so let's just boom. Like, if you need to, that's just me. Like, I'm very. So that's number one. But then also number two, I'm just type person too that like the way that I engage in sex is like very intimate for like to me. I think it's intimate. So like I just feel like it's something not everybody can get or have. Like, and like
there's privilege with your sex.
Yeah,
that's beautiful.
And I feel like
that's
like
dope.
But I think that like not a lot of guys take that route because like dudes just be like, oh well, like but for me, like I really like to get like sheesh, like it's a project. You feel me? Like it's a project. Like for me, so I enjoyed it about it, and I enjoy being like the type of dude that's just not about to just go out. Like, and I understand like a lot of females take that approach because it's looked down upon for like the whole patriarchy thing and body count and yada yada yada. But like I feel like as a guy, like shoot, we have the choice whether we want to be like this or not. It's almost like women have the choice, but like societal views and like societal norms is for a woman to have to be like that. Like I'm making the decision to like not be the type to just like, oh, let me just go quickly smash real quicker. Like for me, like it's like I said, I'm not saying that has not happened. However, it's just like one of those things where I'm like, well, I think personally I want to be like, like I just want to be more like really like, kind of with it. I mean, even if it's like, I don't know, second or third date, cool, that's fine too. But I kind of want to know what you are, like how you are as a person. Because I, for instance, like this way, if you're ignorant or something, just like whatever the case is, like for me, I'm just like, dang, I really smashed that. Like, like, bro, like I really like what? Yeah. I was really intimate with that. Like, I'm good with that. Like,
I know.
But I mean, it's just to say that like I'm not saying like, oh, I got good this, got good that. Although like I would like to say that I do, but like at the end of the day, it's like one of those things where like it's not for everybody. I'm not about to just be sticking my shit in everything that just walk just because they say, hey, like.
Okay, alpha
some
man.
Some dudes can be like that. I don't know, but for me, take a little time, like.
That's what's up. I respect that, and I think that's very honorable.
Me, I just want to think about it. Like I want to like after that first date, whatever. Like I kind of want it. Like if it's almost like let me want it. Let me like crave it. Like it's. I mean, even if you want it, like even if let's say like I have a person that I want, and then they want me too. I think purposely making each other wait is so because like okay, you do it the first night, you want each other, boom, boom, bam. Not to say it can't be good, but if I've been waiting for a minute, sheesh. Oh, you about to get ate up on. Like, this is my thing. Like, from my side, from their side, it's just like the wait. Like, imagine you ain't seen your dude in a couple weeks.
Ooh.
And y'all just been like going back and forth. Like, oh, I can't wait to, see you and yada, 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 this and other, whatever. And then this motherfucker come back home and beat it down.
Oh my gosh.
Like
the vulgarity.
Like just when I say beat it down, like walls non-existent at that point. Like just gone. Like
just limp.
Like just calling out of work the next day type shit. Like, oh, Marissa didn't show up. We need a substitute for her.
I can't make it.
Like for real. Like I'm so like Marissa. Like for real. For real. Like that's what I'm talking about. It has nothing to do with. I mean, we can talk about morals, all this other, but like, it just makes it so much more. Like that first time is just like, because like the first night stand is like, oh, you boom, like you go, and I mean, sometimes it can be all night type. You get lucky and might get somebody that might kill that shit all night, and you get 45 minutes of sleep and gotta go to work, like that type of stuff. You be sitting there at work tired, falling asleep, but like satisfied, like I mean, it's been like that several times for me, but like I would also say that like it's been like that several times for me, not because of one night stand, but because I knew like I'm about to be there, like we about to be present during this time, and just so that's my take on it. Like I mean, I don't know. That's just me. Like I want like it's a part of the experience to just like wait it out a little bit. Like
you know what song comes in my head? The same song I was singing earlier when you first walked in. Sit on It. Ari Lennox and who else? Jasmine Sullivan. Child. And the thing is,
How you gonna forget that song? That was her song on her album.
I know. My bad. Sorry. But that song is so beautiful. It really is. I was just sitting on it, right? I was like thinking about the song, like just like thinking about like, wow, the chords, the harmonization, the gentleness in the voice. Like, it's not no like type. But
like, even after all of that, though, Marissa, like, the lyrics of it all, like, she said, like, listen, I want to break it. She said something about having a canoe because that shit wetter than the old Chesapeake Bay.
Oh my gosh!
Like, do y'all know where the Chesapeake Bay got one of them bridges that goes into a tunnel that goes under and disappear underwater and drive through like the Chesapeake. Like, can we just? I'm gonna need you to just post a picture of the Chesapeake Bay on there. Like, just the Chesapeake Bay is just like a huge just.
Look it up. Hold on.
Look it up. Like
Chesapeake Bay. Okay. I didn't even notice that part. I gotta listen to it.
Look at it, like, just it's the vastness, and like it actually is low key shaped like a. I don't know, like, just I don't know if that what she was meaning, but the vastness. But
wow, the details.
Wetter than the old Chesapeake Bay. Like, we're talking about a whole body of water here. Like,
how you wetter than a whole body of water?
Trillions of gallons. Like, you have to be excited and just into this like person for the old. Like, let's just break that. And then she said. What else did she say? She said on its bow-legged hood. Oh my God. The way that this dude just like is walking, or the way that he like his swag, whatever. Like, she's looking at that like, yo, it's not even just the face, it's the way that, you know, a person walks and the way that they stand. That's like, you not like, it's past, like, we've gotten past how you look in the face and maybe your body type. The way that you stand, like, you really analyzing that person now. Like, you getting down to the detail, right? So
there's a throwback story I'm about to give real quick. So my undergraduate years, oh my goodness, this is one guy, Mac Cheeks, shout out to him, cool guy. He will walk with a third leg, like bow-legged, but like, oh damn, what that thing, like it was like hanging, dangling, what's up, singing, okay? And whenever I would see him on the quad walking around, I'm like always imitating the way he walks. I'm like, dang, geez, you gotta walk like that all the time. He's like, yo, look, I'm just, you know. But that just brought me back to that moment. Like, wow, you know, looking at someone's walk style is impressive.
Definitely is.
What she said? Why I shouldn't move? I'll spit on it because I heard some freaky shit about you. So let me see what that mouth do. Because baby, it's not that easy to please me. Yeah, I need it. Yeah, I need my attention with different. And you know what's so beautiful? I like that, you know, there's men, okay? Men. And I'm saying that specifically because there's niggas and then there's men, right? There's men who actually care about the pleasure of the woman, right? Cares that the woman is pleased. And what's up? And like, there's this like detail, there's this order, there's this caress that men have when it comes to pleasing their woman. Because I've been with niggas.
That's just whack though. Like,
I
that's
know.
So whack.
Right. I've been with niggas and it's just be like 5 minutes and I'm just like, wait, I didn't even get wet.
It's cringy though. Like, it's very cringy, even from like just the perspective of like I feel like that's what sex is about. So, like, if I'm just going to please myself, I can, like I said, I can just pull up to the crib, pull out of the motherfucking cocoa butter and keep it moving. You know, pull up a video. Like, let's be real. Like, you can have your little bullet, your little whatever the hell you want to. If you really just want to, like, you're not in the mood to, like, go with that kind of pleasure with someone else, then, like, you have other ways of handling it. Or I've had a few biddies that just like coming over and just sloppy topping and go. Like, that's their, like, and you don't got to do nothing. You just come home from a long day of work. Hey, you trying to come through and boom, boom, bam. Like, boom. Like, you sit there. I ain't got to do nothing. I ain't got to do nothing. Literally just sit there. Like, there are people that are like that. So either you do it yourself or you get somebody who, you know, kind of wants to just, you know, whatever. But when it comes to, like, literally just, like, the act of having sex or, like, you know, whatever the case is, like, Just do like just.
I don't know how we spent so much time talking about sex. Like, you are so vulgar. I did not bring you on this episode to be raunchy.
Okay, I'm gonna tell y'all can literally see how Maurice like dragged me into the raunchiness. But we can get political if you want to.
Wow.
But literally, Maurice dragged me into this.
I'm a God-fearing woman, and you want to talk about sitting, you know,
yo, she literally brought this
wetter than a Chesapeake Bay.
But she literally brought that up.
Have some decorum.
Yo, she's being such a smart ass right now and being so like sarcastic. The satire. Satire. Anyways.
Okay.
Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives Matter. And you know, you are sure I'm a proponent of that too, but you're a proponent because you put it on your car. You have a whole sticker.
I was out in the streets. Community organized everything in Charlotte before I came to Houston. I was into all of that. Activism, all of that stuff.
That's you.
Ever since.
And I respect that. That's dope. Because I was driving. I'm like, wait, the car in front of me, it looked like it could be, well, Mr. Wright. You know, there's Black Lives Matter. There's Alpha Phi Alpha. There's a charge. I'm like, is this nigga? So, of course, I'm texting and driving. Of course. And
but in Houston traffic, it's just like you really weren't driving.
Right. I was parked.
You were literally parked.
Right.
Okay, go ahead.
I was fully aware. I was parked. We're good. And I'm like, is this you? You're like, yo, it's me. I'm weak. I'm fucking weak. You know how you always say that shit. Anyway, Black Lives Matter. Patrice Cullors. How you say it? Is it Cullors or cute? You tell me, activist.
I said Cullors.
Cullors? Okay. So she is in the hot seat for allegedly, who knows if I think it's true, but there's reports of her purchasing homes, $1 million homes, several of them. One of which is in an area that is predominantly white, and she's getting a lot of backlash for it because it's like, well, she's getting this money on the backs of slain innocent black men, and are these proceeds going to these single mothers or these mothers who, you know, no longer have their son alive? Is she doing good with her work, or is she just profiting off of it? She also describes herself as a trained Marxist. Could you break down what a Marxist is? I didn't feel like looking it up, so I didn't do my homework. But do you know what that is? What the fuck is that?
Yeah, so I'll just give like a briefing of it. But Karl Marx wrote like a pretty much like a manifesto, pretty much that kind of describes what communism is, or socialism in general. But kind of goes into detail on that. So if you guys know the difference between communism and capitalism, one is where the people or like the government owns like the pretty much assets and pretty much everything, versus capitalism is private owned, or like, you know, by companies, et cetera, et cetera. So with it, when it comes to Marxist, I mean, we hear like socialism, communism, things like those little buzzwords. That's kind of the gist of it. So
okay,
but addressing her specific thing, I was actually watching, which I would recommend you guys if you guys don't know, Dr. Mark Lamont Hill.
Yes. Okay.
I love Dr. Mark Lamont Hill.
Mm-hmm. He's an alpha too, right?
No.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
Nah, he's a Kappa. Sheesh.
Oh, he's a Kappa.
Yeah,
one of those
Kappa.
niggas.
Yeah. Exactly. One of them. Not everybody can be great. Not everybody can
Moving
be
his
first.
shoulders.
That is what
okay.
it is. Moving along. But he actually took her on her show in order to clear the air.
Yeah, I saw you reposted that. I didn't get a chance to watch it yet, so
yeah,
I'll watch it after.
When you can, it's definitely a good explanation. I think that it doesn't necessarily address. It addressed maybe 80 to 90% of what we might kind of like speculate, but there's still just like but like, number one, she's a professor. So if you know anything about like, you know, higher education, like I had a professor that was in political science. He got paid $120,000 a year. And we're not talking Boston, $120,000, New York, $120,000. We're talking North Carolina, $120,000.
So that goes a long way.
That goes a really long way. And he came from like Syracuse, and you know, he's this Italian guy that came from up north, whatever. So he knows what $120,000 can do and what it looks like coming down here. So just to give you an example of like what that looks like, a lot of our professors were getting, you know, anywhere from like $70,000 to $150,000 just for being professors, depending on your publications, et cetera, et cetera. So she's making good money that way. She also has a bestseller.
Okay.
A New York Times bestseller. She wrote 2 books, I believe, maybe even more, but I think they said that she wrote 2 books. She's involved in some other, like, you know, business ventures per se that goes around like education. But the biggest thing is she does not receive a salary from Black Lives Matter. She does not receive a salary. She does not receive one. What's up? She does not receive a salary. So she doesn't get any benefit, monetary benefit from being a part of the movement or like being part of the organization in general. But that's from like a monetary benefit. But like obviously she gets her clout and notoriety, and like some of those book deals might have even came from her just being who she is, the co-founder of Black Lives Matter.
Okay.
So to say like, yeah, she might not receive a salary and all this other stuff, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that's right. That's true. But if you're Mauricie, the teacher at so-and-so X, Y, and Z school, right? High school teacher. You're doing what you're doing, and you have your podcast now, right? You might have a couple hundred listeners, couple thousand, whatever. Now you're part of co-founder of Black Lives Matter. Okay? Not only is your podcast gonna go from it just being a couple hundred, maybe a couple thousand viewers, now we're in the 100,000, maybe even millions, because of the fact that you have that attached to your name. It may still be your venture. You may have even had this podcast before then. However, you're still getting the viewers, you're still getting money, you're still getting all types of stuff from the simple fact that what? You're a part of the movement. So to be honest, for me, it's just like that's why I'm looking at it from. Like, yeah, she does all this stuff on her own, et cetera, whatever. But she's getting a lot of the notoriety from being the co-founder of Black Lives Matter. Additionally, all the homes that she bought, she said that because of how far she's came, like financially, all those homes and everything she bought were her taking care of family members.
Okay.
So it's almost like one of those like, yeah, we made it, so I'm gonna get you a house, like type stuff or whatever. And that's how she like did it. But again, a lot of her notoriety is coming from being co-founder of Black Lives Matter. So yeah, it's her money. You know, she does not get a salary from Black Lives Matter, but yo, like you're known for that now. Like they know you as so-and-so.
So of course you get a little bit more because of that attachment.
Exactly. But I will agree too that the right wing media is like really kind of pushing that narrative as if like they don't do it a lot, as if like the vast majority of like right wingers, because they're the ones that do all this nepotism and they're the ones who do a lot of like really just kind of doing whatever they want to do, especially when it comes to capitalism. It's just like and the fact that she's a Marxist, a trained Marxist, but like you're buying all this stuff to kind of celebrate you kind of like yourself in general. But then again, we also live in a capitalist society. So, like, I mean, in order just to be in a capitalist society, like, I would say to myself, like, I lean more far left, more to, like, agreeing with socialism, things like that. But I enjoy going to go shop a little bit. I want a nice house, whatever. But we live in a society where capitalism is the main type of, like, economy. So, like, at the end of the day, what am I going to, like, everybody's out here being a capitalist. Am I supposed to just be a socialist, just right here, just chilling, like, is that what I'm supposed to do? Or like, I'm not saying it's right or wrong or I should or I shouldn't, but it's just like, think about it. Like, yeah, she says she's a trained Marxist. I probably wouldn't put that out there as much. If I'm doing all of this, I probably wouldn't tell people that's what I am. Because clearly I'm not, or I'm not really upholding like the values of what a trained Marxist would if I'm out here just buying a whole bunch of homes and like going on trips and like doing all this other stuff. Because at the end of the day, I would be pretty much dedicating my life to the fight. And not really doing all this, although you do need to. But she also did bring up another good point, which is where I'm gonna I'm just gonna just cut it off after that. But she brought up a good point that community organizers and like people who go out here and fight for certain causes, they deserve to be paid.
Yeah.
Because as I was marching,
I don't see anything wrong with that.
Yeah.
And I don't like people counting other people's pockets.
I don't.
I hate that shit. Like, oh, because you're a community leader, that means you're supposed to be broke? That means you're supposed to be struggling? It doesn't mean that. Like, sure, you should get paid. This is a lot of work that you're doing. You're bringing a lot of awareness. You're bringing a lot of communities together. You're doing a lot of work for the betterment of the people. So I don't agree with the backlash that she's getting. I think the optics, people are so focused on the optics that it looks bad, but it doesn't when you really take a look at it. Like, okay, she's buying several homes. do you know who she's housing? She's probably housing, underprivileged people. She's probably housing people who are struggling right now and can't afford. And she's doing community work. This is charitable work that is reputable, that is respectful. So I think we get in a habit sometimes in this world where we get so fixated on what other people are doing, what the celebrity is doing, what the celebrity should or should not be doing. It's like, shut the fuck up. Like, focus on you. Make your money.
Going on, though, in the world. Like, people it's too much going on already in the world. Weird. To worry about your own bills. It's social, just in general. And I also feel like, so I'll say this. So from two different aspects. So like whenever I was like, so when the whole thing happened with George Floyd, last summer, like I had went out and I had protested for almost 30 days straight, like literally the whole time. And one thing that I noticed during then is like we go to protests and stuff like that. Or I've been to many protests and stuff like that, and I've seen like just the 1-2 protests. But like there were literally times where like you had community organizing, like at the protest, there were thousands of people out there, but no one knows the logistics of like what an actual like real protest looks like, because after like 2 or 3 days and people realize, okay, we're in this for the long haul, we're gonna be out here for months. Like there were like people like there were restaurants. It was like I remember this one vegan restaurant that made these plates, and like they would come out 3 times a day and set up right across the street from the jail, and it's like, all right, this is free food for any like protesters, and then they had like snacks and drinks, and like this is a thing. Like people, like if you're actually like protesting and like organizing, like that's what happens. Not just going out picket fencing and whatever the case is. Like you have community organizers actively talking to like the police chief and all these different things and stuff like that during these like things. So like to have someone, organizations to like provide these things and organize them to the point where like people aren't passing out while they're out there like protesting, because the fact that community organizer made it noted that, okay, we're going to make sure that we're marching towards this direction around this time because there's going to be food and water and things for people to take a break and, whatever.
They're doing their pre-work. They're not just, I'm going to wake up today, just go walk out.
Exactly. No. Like that's not activism. That's not community organizing. And then I would say too that like with nonprofits, especially with her being a part of an actual organization, that like even I was in, I did an internship during college with this one nonprofit. And they hit me up around that time, like, it was like, oh, hey, like, I know you're in the Charlotte area. There's a lot going on down there. Like, do you know any organization that would like $30,000 to $100,000 grants? Like, there's work like to be done. Like they were looking. This one foundation was looking to give, because of George Floyd thing. They're looking to give $30,000 to $100,000 to a community organization that was like actively helping like change legislation, et cetera, in North Carolina and Charlotte. So like you have these things that are like that people are like actually wanting to put out here. However, there were several organizations that they did not want to give to because number one, one was like a Latino organization ran by a white person that was getting like $100,000 salary. That's not okay, especially in the nonprofit sector. That's not okay. Like I don't care if you're CEO, with the average like as much as like people would probably get would be like $80,000, maybe 65, 70. But like when you come to stuff like that, a lot of people aren't really taking to heed like, okay, this is what it looks like to be part of a nonprofit, community organizer, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that in turn, like all of this is just because the lack of understanding that people have about like what this work looks like. People are just like going, like taking stuff and going with it when it's a complex environment. Like nonprofits and organizations, community organizing is way much more complex, even I feel like, than a regular business. A lot of politics behind it. So
look, I guess you are smart. Wow, I'm impressed. I forgot what you said about what Marxist is, to be honest with you, because that shit was long. So can you say it again?
So like it's like pretty much like
what are words?
Like the people own.
Take it slow.
The people like this is pretty much the people own like all the assets and things like that. A lot of times it's like people own, or like you could say government own, depending on what type of like socialist or communist like environment that you're like living in, or economy that you're living in. But I mean, essentially it's just like where, like it's not really about and there's so many aspects of it, but thinking about the economical standpoint, because we're talking about her money, where everyone's equal. Like, there's
Everyone's equal.
no
Okay.
like doctors, gas station, teachers.
So is it related to socialism?
Yes.
God, okay,
Yes,
that's what I know what
absolutely.
socialism is. Okay.
Like, Karl Marx is the person who pretty much came up with a manifesto that describes what socialism is. So when you say a Marxist, it's just a person who follows that kind of belief, which it goes into socialism, communism. Right?
Thank you. I get it.
It's just the author.
Just the author.
Just
Got
the author. Okay, yeah, like
got
just,
it.
Yeah.
Woo, child. I was like, ooh.
Yeah, Karl Marx, Marxist.
I'm gonna have to Google this later. Okay, good. Okay. So what did we learn today?
I mean, the complexities of like nonprofit and like kind of that, like that kind of thing, and like politically and just that.
And if your girl's vagina is as wet as the Chesapeake Bay or even wetter, then you are winning.
Yes, absolutely.
Bye, guys. We're going to end it here. Thank you, Mr. Wright, for joining me on this podcast episode. Jeez. I'll have you again if that's all right with you.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yo, let's next time let's go on something real political so I can like school him on something.
I know, because he definitely schooled me. This is political rights over here. But yeah, okay. So if your pussy is wetter than a Chesapeake Bay, you are winning.
Jasmine Sullivan, Ari Lennox, that's my wife.
Oh gosh.
Yo.
Bye, guys. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of God Built This Podcast with your host, Maxine. Be sure to leave a review, give me 5 stars, and of course, subscribe. Also, follow God Built This Podcast on Instagram at God Built This Pod. God bless.